Costco, the big wholesale retailer, is selling out of gold. Who even knew that they were selling gold? But what is their chief financial officer telling us about demand for gold, which could spell higher prices as we head into the coming year? And what does that mean for silver? Thank you, Derek, for that super chat. Super appreciated. Also, what's Elon Musk saying about America that should scare the pants off of all of us? What about oil reaching $150 a barrel? What's that going to do to the economy? But we got more news about the economy. Pending home sales plummeting, and we're going to talk about employment because, guys, that's the one thing the Fed has been holding on to as their basis, their foundation, to kill the price of silver and gold, right? The employment pick. I have a keen insight, something that I don't think a lot of us have really considered, that will tell us what's really going on in the labor market and why, despite what they're saying about the labor market, we can't avoid some serious implications from an economic slowdown sooner as opposed to later. But first, I want to share with you guys, I just finished a 1 hour conversation with Jorge Ganoza. He's the CEO of Fortuna Silver. They're a billion-dollar market cap. Now they're a little under $1 billion now because their stocks, like everyone else, been down a bit, but an $850 million market cap, intermediate gold and silver producer. But we talked about the market and we talked about the sentiment and what's going on in the gold and silver market. I'm just going to leave you with this, and I'm going to publish this long interview that I did with him. But hold on. I know it's painful right now to be invested in gold, to be invested in silver. Frustrating, painful. You aren't alone, okay? We're together. We get together here in the basement to talk about this, to share our ideas, to share our thesis, but we're not alone. I got clobbered yesterday and, heck, for the last 2 years with precious metal mining stocks. I mean, big losses. And we got to remember there's a lot of other people. We aren't the only ones who own the stocks. We aren't the only ones who own the ounces of silver, gold, or platinum for that matter. But Jorge, we talked about the fact that, like, right now, basically sentiment couldn't be much worse. All right. It's as bad. And it's not just Jorge saying this. It's all the top executives that I'm talking to. I hear it from other analysts. I hear it from other YouTube content creators. Things, the overall attitude is just, but here's the good news. We got to think about the good news in that, guys. If you're okay, are you okay right now? I think I'm okay. We're okay, right? Now, this does make me mad, but nonetheless, the sentiment being so bad, but you're still okay, we're okay, that when it improves, and it's going to be a lot easier for it to improve than it is for it to get worse. When the sentiment does get better, you've heard the story from me zillions of times, there's going to be so much money coming in to the sector. There's money coming out from the ETFs. There's money, people aren't buying metals right now. But when that changes, when individual investors start to buy silver and gold and platinum again, when institutional investors, family offices and hedge funds and whatever, when they start to flow money back into the sector, things will get better. And we know, right, what we always fall back on, our foundation, is the fact that silver and gold and platinum have been valuable for thousands of years. So we can wait patiently. Is it painful? Yes. Let me ask you. Tell me in the comment. Hello, Annie Oakley. Hello, CoinShop Chris. Man, this is so awesome that you guys are here. It's a big deal. It's much appreciated. It really is my honor that you, right, over 250 of you from all over the world are joining me. Please. Ooh, look at that thumb. Susie says I have an ugly thumb. Anyway, please give this a thumbs up, even if my thumb is ugly. Can't be much worse than my hairdo today. Hey, things are going to improve, no doubt about it. What's going on with Costco and gold? When did Costco start selling gold? Let's dig into this and what this could mean for demand for precious metals, because To me, this is nothing but optimistic news. And this comes from our friends at CNBC. Okay. Their headline says Costco is selling gold bars and they are selling out within a few hours. Let's read this. Let's do a little analysis. Let's put our thinking caps on. Costco is well known as a place to get bargain prices on a variety of items, from food to ding-dongs to luggage to appliances and gold bars. And then they say, wait, gold bars? Really? Yes, the retail warehousing giant is your one-stop shop for 1 ounce gold Pamp Swiss Lady Fortuna Veriscan bars, handsomely detailed and ready for purchase. They're available for the bargain price of, well, you have to be a member to get them, a little shy of $1,900. When gold was trading for about $1,900, they were selling them for $1,876, regardless of the price. So now let's think about this. Costco's known for good value, and it looks like they had a pretty good deal going on these gold bars, a very low premium. But listen to this. Regardless of the price, gold is selling like hotcakes, judging by comments Tuesday from their chief financial officer, Richard Galanti. What did Richard have to say? Well, Richard, now that you're not selling just diapers and meat and everything else, Richard said on the company's quarterly earnings call that the bars are in hot demand. Okay, this is Costco, guys, selling gold bars, hot demand, and don't last long when they're put into stock. Here's a quote. He said, I've gotten a couple of calls that people have seen online that we've been selling 1 ounce gold bars, he said. Yes, but when we load them on the site, they're typically gone within a few hours. And we limit it to 2 per person, and they have to be Costco members. Costco is selling out gold as fast as they can put it on their website. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, what does that tell us about the American public's appetite for gold? Now, think about this. I'll be honest. I've never been in a Costco in my life. I'm a value person. I go to Aldi. We do have a Sam's membership, but I want to go to a Costco because I know the reputation and I know that they have great deals. Smart people go to stores like Aldi. Well, frugal, resourceful people go to stores like Aldi, Sam's Club, and Costco. What is it telling us when those smart, resourceful people, Costco members, are snatching up all the gold that the company can put onto their website? Think about that for a second. Think about that, because here's a couple of important points from that thought. The bars are indeed only available online, and if you're a Costco member, which cost about $100 a year, you got to be a member. The retailer also is limiting the purchase to 2 to a customer, meaning it would be pretty hard to build this guy's, of course, they're always putting down gold on CNBC. All right. At the very least, though, it's an effective promotion and one that could appeal to a certain sector. Listen, they're putting us down again. One that could appeal to a certain sector of Costco shopping clientele. This is the guy from Genesis Gold Corp said this. He noted that the company seems to have accelerated its offering in dried foods, food preppers, those people, people who maybe are a little concerned that we might have food issues coming down the road. Those people, yeah. Right. People who might want to have a little precious metals stored up just in case things get a little dicey out there. Yeah, those people. And by the way, if you want to get some precious metals stored up, you don't have to go to Costco. You can go to Pembex. They're the sponsor of Ron's Basement, the online bullion dealer. You can trust Pembex. Do your own work, do your own research like I did. You'll find they have great service and the best prices. I think Pembex is best. I trust Pembex. I think you will too. But if you demand on going to Costco to get your gold, let's dig a little deeper into what they're saying. They say they've done their market research. I think it's a very clever way to get their name in the news and have some great publicity. No, maybe people just want gold. Have you thought about that, Eisenhower? Right? Maybe this isn't a publicity stunt. Maybe people really just want gold. Huh? No. Why would people want gold? Why would people want precious metals? Why would they want to have some silver or gold at their house? Why would they want to have a little extra food stored up? Why would I mean, no, right, okay? He said there's definitely a crossover. They're putting us down, guys, of people living off the land, being self-sufficient, believing in your own currency. Okay? That's the appeal to gold as a safe haven as people lose faith in the US dollar. So if you're one of those people who wants to be self-sufficient, right? Protect your money, you're the type of person who would buy gold from Costco. Well, you know what? I think that's an admirable quality. I have that quality. High five out there, all 300 of you joining us today. And I got to ring the 100 thumbs up bell. Come on, man, more thumbs up, but I got to ring the bell. Hold on. Did you notice the new Weber? Well, where is he? The new Weber bear? He's pretty cute, isn't he? Speaking about stocking up food, I love the Weber Seasonings, okay? They're helping to support the channel as well. I've got a great friend and a great neighbor who works promoting Weber Seasonings on a national basis. Speaking of Sam's Club, that's where I got these Weber Seasonings. You might want to check them out. Now, nonetheless, if you want to stack up some food or some gold, right? Protect yourself. Well, then you're the type of person, you're one of those people. And you know what? That's okay. They can call us whatever they want, right? They can call us preppers. They can call us conspiracy theorists. They can call a person who doesn't believe in the future of paper money. Do you want paper or do you want metal? They can say whatever they want about people who stack gold and silver. The numbers speak for themselves. Costco, one of the nation's biggest retailers, is running out of gold every time they put it on their website. I don't know how much they're putting on there. We don't know any specifics, but you know what? What is at very minimum, what does that tell us about the appetite within the general American public for gold and silver? And the crazy part, this is the fun part, this is the good story, guys. The good story about that is it hasn't even started. Will you listen to me? It hasn't even started. It has been, look, man. Look, if you're a silver stacker or a gold stacker in the United States, if you're a person who invests in precious metal mining stocks, we are at the bottom. Congratulations, you've reached bottom. And there's only one place to go when you reach bottom, and that's up. Because you know what? Just like Bidenomics, it's going to be working for us. We have been beat down. Think of Costco is selling out gold in an environment where in the United States, people have been brainwashed against the value of precious metals, right? For not just years, but decades. And does that show us that people are maybe, just maybe, starting to wake up a little bit to the value of the metals? I think it is. When I was speaking to Jorge Ganoza, the CEO, and what a great guy. I tell you what, I love talking to Jorge because he is quality. He has delivered on everything that he's ever promised. And we were talking about like the fact that all the precious metal mining stocks combined right now are smaller than the size of Home Depot, Home Depot, whatever you want to call it, that giant orange hardware store that I personally don't look forward to going to because I feel like it's overwhelming, but nonetheless, all the mining stocks. And think about this. I want to drive this point home because I think it's critical when we're talking about sentiment in the gold and silver sector. When it turns, and we talked about this, it's going to be a flood of money coming in. No doubt about it. Absolutely. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the super chat. Okay? But it's going to be a flood of money, an absolute flood of money. And guess what? It's not like suddenly you can start. There's only so many mining companies, right? And there's a huge moat. Have you heard that? What is that? What does that saying mean to you? Build your moat. Build a moat around yourself. Build a moat. A moat means it's hard to penetrate. They used to build moats around castles because they didn't want people getting in. The mining business has a big moat around it. It's got high barrier to entry. You can't just jump in too. And we're going to talk about the physical metal and what that means to the physical metal as well. But you can't just jump in. When people do decide to get into the precious metal mining stocks, it's not like more gold miners can just be created overnight, right? Is there going to be a moat around physical gold and physical silver? Costco sold out. I think there'll be a moat because we know what happened during the C-19 crisis. We know what happened during the banking crisis. There was a big moat around getting yourself some physical silver. Do you remember going to your local coin shop? Huh? Back just in April of this year, you walked in with high expectations. You're going to get yourself some silver. You're happy. You're not going to buy it. You listen up, Buttercup. You listen up, boys and girls, men and women, basement dwellers. You're not going to buy it. You're converting. There's a big difference, right? We're converting paper into real metal, which blows my mind that you can do that, right? That's like, trading air for gold and silver. Might as well be air because that's all it is. But you walk in and you're going to get yourself some silver. You're going to get yourself some gold. You're all excited. Guess what? There's none around. And they're telling you it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks. You can pay us now and maybe we'll get some for you in 3 or 4 weeks. And so you go home and you go on some of the big online bullion dealers and you look and you're like, wow, they raised their minimum price to $500 and they're telling me they're not going to ship this stuff to me until 4 weeks or 3 weeks from now. That's nothing. There's going to be a massive moat around your ability. Anyone's not, and hopefully you're already inside the moat. That would be my question for you. Are you already inside the moat? Have you already acquired some physical metal? I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying if you think it's a good idea to have some metal, you might want to be inside the moat. I feel like I'm inside the moat. And when the situation arises that makes it difficult, darn near impossible to find the physical metal, right? We already know it's all being drained over to the east. What do you think the Chinese are feeling right now with this recent drop in the gold price? They're like, woohoo, bring it on, baby. Ship it over here. We're ready. Okay, ship it on over, right? Yeah. Hello, Abram. Abram, my friend, who's allowed me to give away some gold backs over the last couple of months, and I will continue to do that. Once I get some more gold backs, we will. But Abram from Goldback, thank you for being here. But what do you think? What do you think the Chinese are saying right now? We know that on the Shanghai Gold Exchange, the price of gold is much higher. Silver, it's even higher than gold. What do you think they're saying? Yeah, load it on some boats. We'll take it. We'll take it at that price. Thank you very much. Back to Costco. Let's see if there's anything else we have to talk about. Uh-oh. Here we go. Oh, there's a little more. It gets even better. This guy says precious metals have been on a run over the past several years. Gold has risen more than 15% over the past year. Sure doesn't feel like that, does it, guys? But it has, according to CNBC, and we know they're always honest and upfront about everything, and more than 55% over the past 5 years. But it's a bad investment. Precious metals, a bad investment. Only up 55% over 5 years. With inflation still elevated, banks are under the gun from a regulatory standpoint and looming issues in the commercial real estate market. Really? Thank you, CNBC. The safe haven aspect of gold and silver should be strong. Here's a final quote. Are you ready for your final quote? Grab your coffee. I'm going to have a sip, and then we're going to read the final quote. Wow. I can't believe CNBC printed this. It says, quote, We know what the roadmap looks like. Do you guys want to know what the roadmap looks like? Take out your flashlight. We're shining it. We're all together. We're basement dwellers. We're navigating these choppy waters. You got a flashlight. Believe it or not, I got a flashlight. My flashlight's not any better than yours. We're going down a dark path. We're navigating. We're shining our flashlights together. We're helping each other. We're basement dwellers. We like each other, okay? We're here to help each other. Be nice. Let's shine our flashlight. Because we know what the roadmap looks like. Bank failures, commercial loans defaulting at an alarming rate. They don't seem to have a handle on inflation. And that's why they keep raising interest rates. This guy Rose saying this. He says, quote, "The outlook for stability in the market is not good, and people want a tangible asset that's going to be a safe haven. That's what gold, and silver provide." So what's the takeaway from this, guys? CNBC is telling us that we have some uncertainty coming. Thank you, CNBC. They're telling us we're going to have bank failures. You know, I looked before I came on. Guys, it is absolutely crazy. Bear with me here. Let me go. Let's look at the 10-year bond yield because it is out of control. 4.65. Let me sit down for a second. Take a deep breath. Okay, I know we're not a real technical channel. I know, all of us understand this to one degree or another, but we need to understand one thing about the 10-year bond yield being at 4.65. 3 years ago, the 10-year bond yield was at 0.5. Yes, you heard that correctly. 0.5. Today, it's over 4.5. Now, we can do some simple math and realize that means the rate has gone up 9 times. But think about this. If you're a company, okay, and you're barely making ends meet, this is critical for you to understand what we're facing right now in this country. All right, and we're going to do it in real simple terms. Let's say you got a loan from the Fed. I'm oversimplifying it, but this absolutely is a fact, and you need to understand this. Let's say you had a company and you borrowed $100 million because you needed that money to make payroll and run the business. 3 years ago, your interest payment at 0.5% would have been $500,000 a year. So you're paying $500,000 a year in interest. Everything's okay. Maybe you're making a little bit of profit or you're breaking even, whatever. Today, because your interest expense went up by 9 times, your annual interest expense would have increased from $500,000 to $4.5 million. Suddenly, you're like, wait a minute, we used to make $2 or $3 million in profit a year, but now we got a $4.5 million expense. We're losing money, and that's going to impede upon these companies a bit, and that's happening thousands and thousands of times throughout the country, and that applies to commercial real estate loans. That applies to credit card debt. That applies to car payments. That applies to mortgages. We are headed for a poop storm here. I can't use bad words, but I can use pictures. We're headed for one of those storms, and this, my friends, is going to, see that? That's my air circulation. It's going to hit the fan. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. Well, actually, I do. You can see it right there. Okay, I lied. I'm always lying to you guys. See that? That's a crystal ball. Okay? I do have a crystal ball. And yes, the poop is going to hit the fan. All right? I got to keep that fan on, otherwise I get overheated because I care. All right? Now, that's just the situation as it's unfolding right now in front of us. What did Elon Musk say? Do you know what Elon Musk said? He had some interesting things to say comparing the United States to the fall of the Roman Empire. What? Let's go to that right now. Hello, Cliff. Hey, thank you for the super chat. Wow, guys, the super chats are super appreciated, okay? It does go a long way. we are providing for our family from this channel. So thank you. I won't beg, but I will say thank you. So thank you. It's a big deal. And for those of you who don't know, Super Chat's a way you can donate a little bit of money, whatever you're comfortable with, to the channel. And again, it's super appreciated. Okay, hold on here. Rome. Elon Musk. This is from Fortune magazine. What did Elon Musk say? You may or may not like Elon Musk, right? That's up to you. But the guy has done some incredible things in his life, and I think at minimum we can say he's intelligent, okay? Elon Musk says that the shoplifting epidemic is giving him late-stage Roman Empire vibes. America is going full Joker, all right? Here. Basically, guys, I don't know if you've seen this. If you've not, you need to check this out. Over the weekend, I guess it was, there was just like rampant rioting in Philadelphia and mobs of kids breaking into stores, liquor stores, Apple stores, you name it, all these stores, just wiping it out. Like, they didn't care. They just, and Elon Musk is saying, like, this reminds me of the fall of the Roman Empire. This reminds me of some movie with the Joker, Gotham City, riots going on. I mean, what the heck is going on, right? We talk about silver and gold. Do you think silver and gold protect you during periods of instability? Right? Isn't that part of the appeal? Part of the thesis behind owning precious metals? They protect you during times of instability. How do they do that? Right? Well, because paper money or central bank money or fiat money or unicorn fart dust money or whatever you want to call it money, right, is dependent upon a certain rule of law, certain ability of some organization to convince people that those metal are, I'm sorry, that the paper and the fake money is worth something. Gold and silver are like, they don't care. They don't pay attention. Silver and gold, have you ever considered this about, and I gotta credit my friend Buddy Rumble, because we came up with this during one of our conversations. The Louisiana Gold Guru, who I need to get back on the channel soon, right? He does predict the silver and gold price. But we were talking, like, you know, gold and silver, they don't have a political party. Gold and silver, they don't have an economic system. Gold and silver, they don't care. Why the heck do you think that any time there's a war, and I know Susie's on here and I always say it wrong, whatever. Susie's at her mom's house, so she can't come down here and hit me with a frying pan like I probably deserve half the time. But nonetheless, we got a war, all right? What's the first thing that countries do when they take over a country? They always do one thing. First, they go in and they take all the gold. I wonder why. I don't know. But what a coincidence that that's the first thing that they do. And we got 200 thumbs up. Thank you guys, okay? And if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do it. We got 400 people and only 200 thumbs up. We can do better than that, but I got to ring the bell for the 200 thumbs up. That's the cowbell. That gets rung at 200 thumbs up. I don't know. Where was I? Yeah, Elon Musk says the world's falling apart. Okay, that's the good news. What else is falling apart? How about pending home sales? They crashed. I think it said more than record on record. Horrible. Pending home sales. I wonder why. Home sales are crashing. You know, maybe because the Fed pumped the economy full of money and now they're like crashing everything. I wonder why people can't, you know, afford to buy a house. That's why. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. Excuse me. But, and this is interesting. And I'm sick of hearing it. You probably are too. It's always good news about the jobless numbers. We had good jobless numbers. Jobless claims were, the Fed will say, oh, look, the economy's great. The jobs numbers are great. There's 10 million open jobs. Everything's great. Yeah. Let's think about that for a second. Okay. Okay. This is a breakthrough concept that we need to understand, and why we can call monkey or BS or however you want to say it about these supposed great jobs numbers. People can't afford to quit their jobs. It has become so difficult for people to survive. Do you feel it? Do you think, does that make sense? Like, oh yeah, sure, the job, because people are desperate to make any money that they can because their bills have gone through the roof. So they'll use this mirage of good jobs numbers. Sorry, I had to take a little water break there. But if that's the only thing they have left, okay, it's a bunch of bunk, and it's not going to hold up the entire economy. We don't have to worry about it. I'm sorry. It won't and it can't. I'm sorry. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. But the S&P 500's doing so great. Wrong. The S&P 7. Have you heard this? Like, the top 7 companies in the S&P 500, they basically are the S&P 500 at this point. And these are a bunch of, I'm sorry, their value, underlying value is just not there. NVIDIA and Facebook and Amazon and what else? Microsoft and Apple. Sure, they're tech companies. Sure, they make a ton of profit. No doubt about it. But their valuations, guys, are bubble levels, even with the drawdowns that we've seen here recently. Everything's a big mirage. Everything is, we're living in a period of monetary mirage. Let me ask you that question. And I want to see, do you think that we are living in a monetary mirage? Yes or no? I'm just curious. I want to see how you guys feel about this, because to me, it's all rigged. It's all Wizard of Oz. That's all it is. And when the reality hits, it's going to be an interesting time. I need to mention our sponsor, First Mining Gold. If you think there's a future in the precious metals, check out First Mining Gold. They have 2 5 million ounce projects in Canada, okay, a safe jurisdiction, and they have 4 additional projects in Canada, but they have 5 million ounces each at 2 of these projects. This is gold that's already been drilled. They already have established the size of these deposits. It's in the ground, okay? These are development projects. These are projects that the big companies are going to need at some point, likely in the near future, to fill in their ever drying up pipelines. Because every time a big gold company, every time Barrick takes an ounce of gold out of the ground, guess what? It's gone. It's depleting. It's an interesting business if you think about it. I mean, there's only so much gold and silver on this planet. We've established that. So every time Barrick or Newmont takes an ounce out of the ground, they got to find a way to replace it, okay? And they're going to be looking to companies like First Mining Gold in the future to help replace that gold. Yes. Annie Oakley, man, I gotta take a second and say something to you guys. Okay, basement dwellers, all of us together here. I want to say thank you to the moderators that help make this channel possible. That includes Susie, my wife, who's not here today, so I can say whatever I want. I love Susie dearly. Those of you who know Susie and have interacted with her will understand what a kind, loving person she is. We love you, Susie. We also love Coin Shop Chris, okay? And all the other moderators that make this possible. Neil from Neil Hahn's Dynasty, Annie Oakley, and there's a guy in Texas that we love as well named Jake from Jake's Custom Parts. Guys, this is not easy what we're dealing with. I'm sorry, it's just not, right? And if you've invested, we're dealing with a difficult subject, you know, kind of like there's certain medical things people don't like to talk about, you know, like certain medical conditions. few of which I've encountered in my life, but we won't go there because this is not a medical show. This is a show about silver, gold, and platinum, and we're talking about food spices as well. But nonetheless, we're not dealing with we're dealing with some disturbing revelations sometimes. We're not just like walking around like Pollyanna. Everybody else, let me tell you, this is a fact. This is a fact. It can be frustrating, and don't let it eat you up, but it can, unless you're careful. 99% of people, they don't want to talk about the tough subjects. They don't want to talk about the national debt. They don't want to talk about the deficit. They don't want to talk about the BRICS. I don't know what they want to talk about because I don't ever talk to them. Okay? But we do. So we got to hang together. It's a big deal that you're here. Please consider subscribing to the channel. That's my one subscribe beg of the whole day. And don't forget, we need some thumbs up. All right. But here's what's interesting about what's going on. It's only a matter of time until everybody else is forced to realize, let's just pull one. What do you think the most critical thing will be? The most critical component, right? As things disintegrate in this country, as the dollar disintegrates, that's a new big word, disintegrates, degrades, devalues, depreciates. What other words can we use to describe? Disappears. The dollar disappears. What's the biggest factor, do you think, that's going to be the driving force behind that? I'm beginning to believe, and I'm hearing just the very, very beginnings, they're just starting to talk about it, right? The national debt. Okay. What do you think when all those other people, the sheeple, we can call them, I mean, I'm not making fun of anybody, but I'm sorry, I don't have any sympathy for people who have willfully ignored what is a massive elephant in the room, and that's the national debt. What do you think when they start to wake up? You know the story. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. We're 1 in 200 people. When we get 5 in 200 people that are concerned about the national debt alone, and they start to freak and be like, it just dawned on me. We got all this debt here in the United States, and we can't pay it off. Well, shoot, I wonder what that means for the value of the U.S. dollar going forward. Honey, what do you think? Do you think that paper money that now we can't even pay off the debt, do you think it might go down in value? What do you think we should buy? Should we buy some scratch-off lottery tickets? Huh? No, they're going to wake up just like all those people at Costco, and they're going to be like, you know what? You know what, honey? Why don't we get us some gold? Why don't we get us some silver? And then the honey, like my honey, Susie, is going to say, honey, there is no silver available. I went to our local coin shop behind your back yesterday to buy some silver, and there's none there. Oh, shoot. What are we going to do? Oh, there's some silver available. It's just got like a 60% premium above the spot price. Oh, shoot. We're in big trouble, honey. That's how it can play out, right? That's what we could potentially see coming down the road. I don't know. What about $150 oil? That'll be good for the economy. That'll be great. Can you imagine? How are you going to feel when you go? I live in Missouri, and I drive about 2 miles a day round trip. Okay, I'm a very efficient-oriented person. I have an 18-year-old Acura TSX, the best car ever made on the planet. It was made in Japan. I love it. Anyway, it gets good gas mileage, and I drive about 2 miles round trip every day. Occasionally, I venture a little further. But for the most part, we drive very little. I buy very little gasoline. My carbon footprint, I'm probably one of the greenest guys you ever meet. Nonetheless, when I do buy gas, it's like $3.80 a gallon in Missouri, and we've got like the cheapest gas prices. What are you paying? I want to hear from you in the chat. Thank you, Shadow Work. Wow, and I got another. Thank you guys for the super chats. Ricky's House of Crap. I want to hear from you. Yes, you, because we're all interested for your input in the chat line. Tell me what you're paying, and I'm going to tell you then what you can expect to pay 6 months from now for gas. I'm going to say $3.89. See? Does that show up on your screen? Showed up on my screen. $3.89. What are you guys paying? $3.17, $3.52 for gas in Florida, $3.04, $4.24, $3.57, $4.85 in Nevada. Wow, $3.50. Maybe it's cheaper in Missouri. Last time I paid, that's what it seemed like. $3.33, $3.96, $3.33, $3.14, $6.35. You must be in California. Oh, Dutch farmer, don't you throw the liter stuff at me. $2. That's a currency conversion. And he says 2.06 euros per liter, Dutch farmer. That's a currency conversion and a metric conversion. $1.80 in Canada, $5.20 in Northern California. Okay, take whatever number you put on there and add $2 or $3, because that's likely per gallon what we're going to be paying at some point within the 6 months, because they're calling for $150 crude oil prices. And there was a startling revelation in here. Okay, startling. Hold on. Oh man, he's stupid. Sorry. Oop, I didn't say that. Okay, here we go. Oil prices could be headed to $150 a barrel unless the U.S. boosts its exploration efforts, top shale executive said. The guy from CEO, Doug Lawler of Continental Resources, said there's no new sources coming on. We're heading to $150 oil. Here we go. That's going to send a shock through the system, okay? You're going to see more pressure on price. Hold on. J.P. Morgan, here, this is what J.P. Morgan said about this. They warned last week that oil prices could soar back into the triple digits if supply is put under any more pressure, and that oil at $120 a barrel would have dire consequences. We estimate, okay, dire consequences. J.P. Morgan Chase, $120 oil. I'm trying to compartmentalize this for you into one big compartment. J.P. Morgan Chase, $120 oil. Dire consequences. Quote, we estimate that if this were to happen in the coming weeks and were attributable entirely to supply cuts, sit down for this, the global economy would slow to a near stall next quarter. Guess what, JP Morgan Chase? Even without $120 oil, the economy is going to hit a major stall next quarter. With $120, we could be looking at a depression. Do you guys worry? Do you think it's possible? I mean, like, we don't even fathom anymore, right? And those are the things that sometimes, have you noticed that in your life? I'm a young 53 years old, darn it. I will make a new video every day for you for the rest of my life if you enjoy visiting with me in the basement as much as I enjoy visiting with you. Subscribe to the channel, okay? But, have you noticed in your young number of years you've had that a lot of times the things that do happen are things that we never would have thought of? Who would have thought that 9/11 would have happened? Nobody was predicting that. Who would have thought that C-19 would have happened? Nobody was really predicting that. Anybody who says they were is full of, where is it? That. Right there. I need to clean this show up and hide the hot dog again. Anyway, the things that happen are oftentimes the things that we don't think are going to happen, that we aren't predicting to happen. And nobody's talking about a depression. They talk about a recession. They talk about stagflation. But what about in all-out depression. And I'm telling you right now, oil going to 150 a barrel in the current trajectory of interest rates. Let's say the Fed does raise rates from this current 5% range to 7% range. Don't forget, Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan Chase said that the 5 to 7 range, if they raise them that much, is going to be much more painful than what we went through, let's say, from 3 to 5. Could we be headed for a depression? Are you mentally prepared? Are you monetarily prepared? Do you have some stores of value other than paper money or electronic money? Do you have any real money? That's what you have to ask yourself. Do you have a little extra food? I got a little extra up there on that shelf, right? A little. A couple boxes of pancake mix. I need to do better. Okay, nobody's perfect. You don't have to be perfect. But are you prepared? And is it a possibility? Do you think, here's my question, and I want to hear from you in the comment. I'm going to type my answer right now. Do you think that it's even possible that we could have a depression? Depression, not a recession, a depression. I say yes, right? Some people I know think no, and that's okay. Got Silver says yes. Coda says yes. Coin Chop Chris says yes. Crop Duster, yes. OC Stacker, yes. Annie O, man, you guys are the best. I love all of you and all of you that are here right now. This is a big, big deal. Dutch Farmer says yes. Casey Jones says yes. Original Intent. Depression and then hyperinflation, yes. What do you think is going to happen to the silver and gold price in that environment? 1,000%. Well, I got to be honest. I'm surprised, because when's the last time you heard anybody talk about the prospect of a depression? And does that mean that maybe it's more likely than most people? I'm sure, if you go to your church or your kid's little league game or your grandchild's whatever, talk to your neighbors and start talking about You guys have heard this story before, but when I'm at the neighborhood swimming pool, if somebody starts talking to me that I don't really feel like talking to, I'll start talking about silver and gold. It's like insect repellent. They go away immediately. Nobody wants to talk about silver and gold. If that doesn't work, I'll talk about bricks, because nobody wants to talk about bricks. And if that doesn't work, I'll talk about the petrodollar. And I'm starting to think that the fourth thing you could do is talk about a depression. People are just asleep. Everybody's asleep. It's like we're walking around in zombie world. Everybody's been zombified, it feels like, around me in some ways. Like, oh, well, CNN told me that this, people are more interested in this BS political drama in theater than they are in what's really going on. It's like they're distracted, like they're medicated or something. I don't know. Am I, maybe I'm the one that's screwed up. I could be, okay? Trust me. I could give you a list of references who would tell you that Ron's a screwball, okay? But it seems right to me. Does it seem right to you? Talk about contrails. I don't know anything about that contrail thing. I know there's, I live in St. Louis. All I know is I have F-15 and F-18 fighter jets fly by my house every day, and they shake the house, okay? So we talked about a recession. We talked about a depression. A depression. What about that other word? Do you guys want to talk about that happy word? The S word? Yeah. I'm not talking about that stuff. Okay? There's another S word. And nobody likes to talk about it. Nobody likes to talk about it. No. The Fed, I bet if you went inside the Federal Reserve, if Jerome let me in, I've invited him here to the basement several times, and he always has declined my invitation. But if you and I walked into the Federal Reserve, right? I bet that's a fun place to go. Anyway, if we went in there and said stagflation, I bet like the walls would shake, right? Oh my gosh, we got 300 thumbs up. Hold on. It's a long-standing tradition and one that jeopardizes my relationships with the generous sponsors who make Ron's Basement possible, but I've always rang the bell 3 times with my nose. I've been called a clown. I've been called a genius, but it is what it is. So one more time, since we got to 300 thumbs up, you guys are awesome. Do you really want me to ring the bell with my nose? If you do, please put nose in the comment. And then we're going to get back to stagflation. Right? Because the walls are shaking, right? I just want to get a megaphone and go stand outside the Fed and say, stagflation. No nose. Do it, Ron. Noise. Nose. All right, I'll do it. If you don't want to see me do no, just put me on pause for 1 second. Oh, there you are. Are you ready? One of the viewers sent this to me. It's a sterling silver bell, and I'll tell you what, it's much easier on my snaz than the other one that I used to use. Now, don't leave me just because I rang a bell with my nose. It's just something we've done. It shows solidarity and my great appreciation for all of you who've joined me here today. Stagflation is your friend, the S word, okay? The S word is your friend. It's real easy. The economy's stagnating. Oh, new home sales just crashed, right? The only reason people have jobs is because they're desperate to be able to buy food to put in their on the table, right? We know trucking rates are down 10%, train rates are down 5%. We know trade with China is down 3%. Do I need to go on? We know the banks are on life support. We know the government is on life support, right? Right? I heard last night. Did you hear this? That the only jobs that have been created, this was during the debate. I watched like 5 minutes of it. This was fascinating to me. That of all the jobs that have been created, like in the last 10 years, they're basically all like government jobs. That's the net gain in jobs. It's all been government jobs. The government's on life support. You can't tell me that the economy is strong when our government has to spend $1.4 trillion more every year than they bring in, right? They need to go in debt $1.4 trillion just to eke out 2.4% economic growth, and that all these jobs that are so, this great labor market, that all those have been government jobs, right? And government jobs are full of waste and inefficiency. No offense, good for you if you got a government job. And, not everybody that works for the government is wasteful and inefficient. No doubt about it. But overall, government jobs are wasteful and inefficient. Period. Okay, not everybody that works for the government. We got some awesome people that work for the government. No doubt about it. But nonetheless, and you're going to tell me that we have a strong economy? Really? Right? When the banks are only surviving because they got what do you call that? An IV with money getting pumped into them? Oh, really? Really? And the consumer's broke? Hello, welcome to America. Welcome to America, the land of opportunity. You have no savings. You have a boatload. I almost said the S word, but I didn't. A boatload of debt, of credit card debt. What else do you have? No retirement savings. And here's the really fun part. You don't just get to have one job in America, but if you want to make ends meet, especially if you have a family with young children, you just don't get to get one job. You can get 2 or 3 jobs. And we call that Bidenomics. Because, and Susie hates when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like it. It's working, according to your president. That's America. Welcome to America, right? Now, it is a great country in many regards, but it's a country where the middle class can only stand so much pressure, and they have been pressurized and beat down. If you're middle class in the United States, and I don't just mean people working, working minimum wage. I mean people that make up to $100K, $140K probably. I don't know. I don't make that much, so I can't talk to that. But no matter where you are, you're working your butt off just to make ends meet. And you're going to tell us, so I'm sorry, I went off on Went off on a tangent there. The economy, the net of this, guys, is the economy is not so strong. Period. It's stagnant at best. Stagnant. It's artificial. The 1.4 trillion, that's the only reason they can only squeak out, okay, I won't say it again. Okay? And we have inflation. Oil's going through the roof. They aren't controlled. It's stagflation. I'll leave you with this nice, pleasant thought. Stagflation is the most fertile soil from which the silver and gold price can grow. Thank you for joining me. Okay, you guys are awesome. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Be good to yourself, number one. Okay, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.